We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com.
Moving on to Infinite Gary. Does Infinite Gary ask a question every show or just when I'm on?
Pretty darn close. Pretty darn close
Right
to every
on.
show.
Excellent. Infinite Gary has questions. Sharp announced an 8K resolution flat panel at IFA last week. No talk of bringing it to North America, as it seems to primarily be aimed at Japan and Korea, where they expect to actually start broadcasting 8K television in time for the 2020 Olympics for people that want 300-inch screens, I guess. What are you going to do with 8K in your house? Whose house is that big? Do you live in an IMAX? What? Is there really a legitimate reason for 8K, though, he asks? And as you can see by what I just said, I wouldn't think so. Even if content is shot with an 8K camera and remains 8K all the way through the production and distribution chain, what would we really see above and beyond what 4K or even just HD already offers? Again, unless you have a ginormous screen, and Rob can do the trigonometry real fast, what in the world, man? 4K in almost everyone's house I've ever been to is already overkill. And I love it.
I mean, especially for most of our existing content, because most of the movie, even modern movies that are all digital, shot digitally, processed digitally, distributed digitally, most of them are still 2K intermediates. They're not even 4K intermediates, which means, you know, all the special effects, compositing of shots and all that is done at 2K resolution.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, that's still most of them. So,
wow.
You know, getting all the way up to 8K, I mean, getting the actual, I mean, he said with the caveat, you know, the entire production and distribution chain remains 8K all the way through. I mean, first of all, that's going to be a while.
No kidding.
we got to get to 4K being a regular thing before we get to 8K.
I mean, like, seriously, like, that's so much data. That's so much data.
It was hilarious because somebody asked, they said, hey, this Sharp, this 8K flat panel, how are you getting the 8K signal in there? Like, do you have HDMI 2.1 ports with the 48 gigabits of bandwidth? And they said, actually, we're just using 4 HDMI 2 cables. That's how they're doing it. HDMI 2.0, but 4 of them. You need 4 cables. Right.
But seriously,
from your cable box to your television. 4 HDMI cables.
Just from a geometry standpoint, how far away from a 4K TV do you have, or how close rather to a 4K TV do you have to be to resolve a pixel if you have 20/20 vision? Don't you have to be a foot and a half away or something?
Well, yeah,
or
so
2 feet away. How far away?
Once you get to the point,
like say you have a 65-inch, like that 65-inch OLED that I want, it's a 4K TV.
Sure.
And so how close does my nose have to be to that screen for me to see a pixel with normal human 20/20 vision?
Right. So you have to get to where each pixel is filling 1 arc minute.
Okay.
Which is 1/60th of a degree.
Yeah.
Once you get there, that means you will see white pixel next to black pixel next to white pixel instead of it merging into gray.
Right. You'll see the actual structure on the screen.
Yeah. Now that still doesn't necessarily mean you'll see a screen door effect, because to see screen door effect means that the gaps between the pixels are starting to exceed 1/2 of 1 arc minute, so like 120th of a degree.
Right,
it means the gap is in order for you to see the grid structure, right? Okay, I don't really want to work out the math right now, but yes, you have to get insanely close before you're seeing individual pixels or have an enormous screen. Now,
really
in Japan, they are talking about using this 8K to like project the image of the Olympics on the side of a building.
Yeah, that'd be great. Right? But then again, you're still going to have to be close to it. It's just an angle thing.
But the idea is that even on the side of a building, you're not going to see individual pixels until you get pretty close to it. That's kind of the idea.
Unless you build a really, really smooth building. Really smooth. You better get that stucco just right.
I mean, as we've been talking about contrast, black levels, HDR, wider color, we notice all of these things before we notice resolution. I mean, the 8K initiative that they started, NHK in Japan started that. They started that. What was it? That was back in like 1999. They started that initiative.
Wow.
With the goal of getting it working by 2020. Like it's been a long time. So they've never moved off of that. They're still touting 22.2 channel based audio. They will not let it go.
I would be so thrilled if I could just get 1080p from Comcast.
Yeah, there you go.
If I could just get something higher than 1280 by 720, they converted all the damn channels to 1280 by 720, even if it's supposed to. Like HBO, they downgraded to 720p.
No, I mean, I would rather have 1080p with HDR.
Yeah.
I will take that all day over having just 8K resolution with standard dynamic range and standard color. Yeah, give me the wider color, give me the HDR, the resolution. Like, HD is basically enough.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's out of hand. I would just like to get less compression in my house and not see all the little mosquito noise and such things. And Infinite Gary has one more question. What difference does a laser light engine in a projector make over a lamp? Is it possible for them to look the same? It's possible, but like we said before, it's color gamut, right? And brightness.
Yeah, mostly right now it's that color gamut. You can have the wider range of colors with a laser. Like, that is the thing a laser can do right now that a lamp-based system just can't do. Doesn't matter what you do to that lamp, put all the filters you want in front of it, you know, it can't reach the same width of color gamut that a laser light engine can. That's the biggest advantage. Then the others are the lifespan, not dimming as much over time, faster startup and shutdown times. So those are the other logistic considerations. But the laser light engines do tend to generate quite a lot of heat. The ones we're using right now. So
on the upside, though, you can use it as a weapon if you have to. if some sort of futuristic war breaks out, you just pop that out of your projector.
But you can make a laser light engine look like a lamp. You can shrink the color gamut. That you can do quite easily.
In software, you could do that easily. Yeah.
Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.